Hello everyone, I'm doing a thoughts on video on Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. My friend asked me to do this, so I know it's a little out of my territory, but I figured I'd throw my hat in. Speaking of which, I am an old hat, and in fact I will be giving a general thoughts on Pokemon the series entirely after I finish up the normal conversation of this video. Too, I've already done a reaction video on my After Dark channel, but it was very unserious and kind of childish, but I had fun. Okay, so first off we have the Pokemon Trainer. To be honest, I really don't have a lot of thoughts. I like that he has a backpack. I don't know, I think that's Pokemon tradition, but I don't think all of them do. But I like that because it's a good explanation for where you keep your items, even though, to be fair, I don't know how you keep a bicycle in a backpack, but now isn't the time to worry about that. Aside from that, I think the design is okay, and with X and Y, I think they've added in more customization. So if you don't really like this design, I'm sure there's gonna be a female version, and they're probably gonna have a few different things. I don't know much about how the customization's gonna work, but hopefully they have a decent amount of trainer customization. I always like character customization stuff, but this is fine. It's okay. I don't have a lot of thoughts, but it's a design. It's a kid. Okay, next up we have the starters, and I will be going in depth on all of them, but I figured I'd give a general shot. This shot is nice. I do like how it kind of shows a little personality with them. I mean, like, the Litnell, the fire cat thing in the middle, looks like he doesn't give a fuck. And the sea lion thing is just really happy. So, that's good, that's fine. Okay, next we have Rowlet. And more of this proves what I was saying, is we'll definitely have some different trainer designs. There's a female one. She has a really funny looking chicken hat. Don't know what's up with that. Not really sure I'm a fan of it, but hey. So, Rowlet. He is a grass flying, which is cool. Bow ties are cool, and his grass bow tie is adorable. And if you haven't guessed, he is my favorite of the new starter Pokemon. I'm definitely, if I get this game, I'm going with Rowlet as my starter. Okay, next up is Litten, the fire cat, which I don't know. He's black and white. I kind of have issue with this color scheme. I've never been a big fan of... Wait, did I say black and white? No, that would have been fine. Black and red. Not a big fan of that color scheme. It feels very, I mean, everyone knows that whole hatred for the black and red OC thing, and I do think it's an unnecessarily, weirdly edgy type look. I don't really get it, and I don't really like how its whisker face things look. But it's not a terrible design. And, I like cats, so at least has some points. I think I'm mostly interested to see where it's going to go from there. I'm actually kind of surprised it's not Fire Dark. I have a little speculation that it's probably going to turn into a Fire Dark type, because that would be cool. And I don't think we've had that for a starter. They're almost always fire fighting. We've had Fire Flying with Charizard, and Fire Psychic with the most recent one. So I'm hoping this will be a Fire Dark. That'll be a cool combination. And give a little more credence to why it has a red and black design. And next we have Popilo. I believe that's how you say the name. I'm probably going to say a lot of... I'm bad at saying Pokemon names. So, he is actually pretty cute. I like his design. I can't think of a lot of other Pokemon that look exactly like that, so it's at least unique. I feel like I mean, I guess with Litten it doesn't hold true, but I was almost gonna say I feel like we have a lot of neck decorations type things because we have a bow tie and he has like that clown collar. Um, Now I have heard my friends say that water evolutions tend to always end up cool, and the same friend who recommended this video, and in fact I will link to his YouTube channel, Spark the Yoshi. But yeah, Popilo. I think he might evolve into something cool, so that's something to watch out for, because a lot of the water types evolve into something cool, especially first generation. I freaking adore Bulbasaur, and honestly, I really like Greninja. I don't know general thoughts on that, but Greninja's cool. The Ocelot, I'm trying to think what that evolves into, but the big thing with the spear on its head's pretty cool. Next up, we have designs for the legendaries, which, well, I'll talk about the designs, and when I talk about my general opinions, I'll talk about more of my thoughts at the end of the video in general. But for their actual designs, I think they look good. Honestly, I think the face is one of the more interesting things. You can see, like, this weird star pattern in the lion's face, which is pretty cool, and he definitely has a sun thing going on. So that's obviously going to be legendary for the sun thing. But I do kind of like there's that weird contrast, and I don't know, his eyes almost look robot-y. And then we have the moon legendary, which is a very bat-like type thing. I don't know, it looks interesting. Once again, very nice contrast, and it has a very fitting theme with the lion one, and obviously the theme of the game, so I like it. It's also kind of intimidating looking, I guess. I don't know. Honestly, I just generally like it, and the way it poses here makes me think of, like, I don't know, Castlevania game or something. Whew, okay, so I feel like my opinions were on the games themselves not very impressive, which is why I tend to not do reaction type videos, because honestly, they are not what I am skilled at. They are not what I usually do. I like talking over video games or, hanging out with my friends, kind of laid back type stuff. But I figured I'd make this because my friend requested it and because it gave me some thoughts. It kind of made me pause. I was like, well, if I had to talk about Pokemon, what would I really say? So, first off, I will give a few more thoughts on Pokemon Sun and Moon. And kind of, once again, this is where I'm going to kind of diverge it. So, as a general thing, I know it's probably hard to keep it so the legendaries are super hidden these days. And I know this isn't just Sun and Moon. I know they started showing off, like, the legendaries on, like, they're literally going to be on the front of the boxes. But that's still kind of lame for me. I don't know. I guess once again, it's kind of that nostalgia glasses, but it was always really cool back in the day. Like, you had to try to learn about Mewtwo. I guess you could just watch the movie, so it's not like it was that hard to see Mew and Mewtwo, which, obviously I was a kid and loved the first Pokemon movie, but still, I mean, as a general concept, I feel like, what was I saying? I feel like I like the concept of trying to keep it a little more laid back, and, if you watch the movies, then you'll find out who they are, but, unless you're watching the movies, or whatever, or playing the games till you find the legendaries, then you don't really know what they are, and I kind of like that hidden idea, because as it is, I mean, I know the legendaries aren't going to be easy to find, but it feels like, I mean, the details of what they are is just out on a silver platter. I don't even have to look for it. It's just in the trailer. I don't know. I feel like if I'm looking for something legendary, it should be hard to find. But that's a personal gripe, and I guess it's not that big of a deal. At the very least, I can say I like all of the designs so far. Um, let's see. As far as the trailer overall, I can say it was very well done, though, aside from that nitpick. Like, Nintendo does a good job of, I think, I don't know, because I'm not a new audience, like, I'd have to talk to a kid and be like, hey, you little shit, what do you think of this video? But, you know, as once again an old hat, they do a very good job of tugging your nostalgia strings, and they have a really cool remix of the classic Pokemon theme, and, you know, very big, like, anniversary type thing going on here. So, I think the trailer was well done. It got me more hyped than I would have expected. Now, I guess the thing that still is kind of up in the air for me is if I'm actually planning on getting the game. It sounds so weird. To be fair, most of this is because I'm kind of broke. So, I'm very low on funds right now. I don't know how that'll be when the game actually comes out, but, you know, if I don't have money, obviously, I'm not purchasing the game, but even then, I feel like I feel like I'm not as hyped as a lot of the people I know, but I'm still interested, and that's something I'll give Pokemon quite a bit. I feel like I'm probably going to get the game just off of, you know, kind of familiar interest with keeping, you know, kind of a game to play with friends and stuff. And that's something I feel like Pokemon's done very well. It's definitely a community game. So, well, Pokemon might not be my favorite thing ever, and I'm not saying it's bad. At the very least, like, it's something I can admit. It's a lot more interesting when you're part of that community, when you have someone to talk about Pokemon with, and someone who can talk to you about the meta and videos you can watch about, you know, people who really love Pokemon and talk about all these new detailed things. Which isn't this. I'm not saying like, oh man, my video is so cool, guys. My video is ranty and weird. I'm just saying that it is a general thing. It's a very community game, and that's kind of what has me hooked still. Because honestly, I was off of Pokemon for a very long time, until I started talking to people who were like massively into it, and I started getting into it again. And I'm also not saying the game is bad, because if the game was bad, I wouldn't care. There are games that are community games that, you know, people talk about all the time, and I'm like, I don't care. I have a bunch of friends who still play World of Warcraft, and I'm like, I don't have the time to. I don't have a million hours to spend to play World of Warcraft. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not interested. You know, so so I'd say there's something pretty special with Pokemon. In that way, I feel like I was going to compare it to something else. I guess another community game is Dark Souls. And I won't really give my thoughts on that because I don't really want to. But, let's see. But I think people probably, at least, even if my ideas are rambly, that idea probably makes sense. It's a very community game, and I think that's why the card game is so, you know, it's still so popular, because, once again, it's a community game. Card games are a game that you have to have friends to play with. Oh, actually, that's what I wanted to bring up, because I'm not listing this as a positive or negative, but I mean, that's literally why, for anyone complaining that, they always release two versions of the same game. I mean, that's obviously why, because they want you to trade Pokemon, and they want it to be a community thing where there'll be a lot of conversation between people who own Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon, and even maybe some, like, competition of, like, oh man, I want Sun because I think the legendary is cooler, or I want this Pokemon more, or whatever. Um, so that's that. I'm not fully giving it as a defense, though. I'm not saying, like, oh, this is a good thing. Because, well, that is the reason. I'm not saying, like, oh, this is a great reason. I don't know what Pokemon sales numbers would be if they didn't release two versions of basically the same game. But to be fair, I would rather buy, like, Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon, Celestia and Luna get together, the game, rather than have two different versions where I'm not going to be able to catch everything because I didn't buy the other version, especially because I'm not the type who's going to look up and sit down and say, okay, well, I'm going to buy this version because it has this Pokemon, which I want more than this other Pokemon. Like, I usually don't even know the differences aside from the legendaries before I buy the game. And honestly, I'm not even buying Pokemon Sun because of the legendary. I'm buying it because praise Celestia. Praise the sun. I'm gonna praise that sun super hard, you guys. So, like, that's what made my decision for me is ponies. And I know I'm not even exclusive to that. A lot of people are buying Pokemon Moon because Luna is, So there's some really distinct. I mean, that's why this is so fitting on this channel. I guess you have the Pokemon Sun and the Pokemon Moon and the sisters. I wish they were in this game. Let's see. So do I have any other major thoughts? I feel like I've gotten a lot of this off of my chest, but, yeah, so I am hoping to get these. I'm not making any promises, and I probably won't do any further videos on them, but there's been a lot of hype, and I have a lot of friends who are into it, and who knows, if I somehow both get this game and earn up enough money to get myself a 3DS capture card and modify my 3DS for that, like, yeah, I'll probably do a bunch of videos on these, but it'll probably just be a personal fun game. Anyways, that's been my ranting. So, long story short, too long didn't read. Get the owl with the bow tie because bow ties are cool.